Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, as Truman Show star Jim Carrey once said. This is the RetroTech 120p challenge, and this is Burger Time, a Data East classic from the early 80s that came out on a Deco cassette, which was how they packaged their arcade things at the time. It was an idea that you just swapped in the cartridge and put a new game on. This is probably the most famous game on that particular system, and it's one of the better games, I think, of the early 80s. I think it's way up there with things like Pac-Man and the like. So the RetroTech 120p challenge is, as it ever was, where you put 20 imaginary pence into, you can leave them on top of your computer if you want, into the machine, and then you say, right, this is my go. I can have as many practice runs as I want, but this 20p here, this 20p with the Queen's head on it, represents my go at this particular game. And once those 2 goes are done, you enter your video into the game, into the Facebook group, and the highest winner is the winner, the highest scorer is the winner rather, and that is that. And so Burger Time is about a man called Peter Pepper, who is armed with pepper, handily enough, to throw in the faces of eggs and sausages so he can make burgers using his feet. He basically, for some reason, he's assembled all these ingredients at multiple levels in his restaurant. Huge burgers, no one could possibly eat a burger that size. It is at least 2 humans tall. So it's just avarice on the behalf of whoever's ordering said burger. Probably one of those man versus food challenges. His food in his restaurant he's used all sorts of genetically modified ingredients, and some of them have obviously grown to a size and gained a sentiency where they don't want to be eaten. So it's all kicking off. And these poor foodstuffs, because make no mistake, Peter Pepper here is definitely the villain in this particular scenario. His food is revolting and doesn't want to end up in a burger. Unfortunately, a lot of times it does when you drop like leaves on them and things. Lettuce leaves, of course. It's a fairly simple premise. You've got to basically stand on the bits of the burger and get them to fall down the screen until they make an entire burger, because, I don't know, hygiene. Maybe he's got really clean feet, but you know what? I don't care how clean those feet are. He is walking on the ingredients in his kitchen. That is very disgusting indeed. So little tricks in this game that I've learnt from a very brief tests, because I haven't played this in ages. Kim Justice has played it on her channel a few times, but I haven't played it in ages, and so I'd completely forgotten how to play it. I knew I loved this game. It's one of those games I've always liked, but I don't get very far, particularly in this game, because obviously with it, it's one of those old games we don't continue. Once you've used your lives, that's it. Your next credit is basically another go, so it'll be this week whoever gets the furthest. And here's a clue: I don't get very far indeed, but I'm allowed to have a bad run every now and again. That's a little trick to look out for. If you throw pepper in the face of something as it's standing on top of a burger ingredient, the weight of that particular foodstuff will force gravity's hand. The weight of that mighty Saveloy will force it down. That's the end of my first credit. What a shame. Time to enter my name there. There it is. I can't enter J as man-child or even 3 initials because it comes out as Jizz. So it's just J, my actual name. It's a weird spelling, I'll grant you that. Do you want to know the etymology of it? I won't say. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's spelled like that. I should ask these things. Am I adopted? Who knows? So, yep, first credit down. Time for the second credit in this unhygienic adventure from Data East. It's a very peculiar looking layout in his kitchen, it must be said. So many ladders. everything. Yeah, I don't know. There is something deeply dark about this game. It's just look how those sausages waggle. The singular-eyed egg. It's I don't know. It's actually it's a bit depressing to think about. Luckily, the game's terrific, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, like I think this is up there for me with like the likes of Pac-Man and whatnot. It's a very good game and well recommended. It's one of those ones that has stood the test of time. I don't think every game from the early 80s has, as anyone who's played an Atari 2600 can testify. God, those games are horrible now. I still got obviously a lot of love for the Spectrum. Not all the games from the early 80s have aged terribly, but a lot of them have. This is not one of those games. Speaking of the Spectrum, this week expect to see, in fact, a day after I put this out, because I finished it already, I'm going to be doing a video on Mastermind on the Spectrum, and boy, that required some work, that one. Basically, it's the most visually boring game possible, and it's incredibly short as well. It's 2 rounds, like Mastermind, and there's not many questions, so how I managed to stretch that video out for as long as I did, it's actually under the 10-minute mark, which is quite rare for those Spectrum reviews. Yes, I think I've done some good work with it this time, so pay attention to that one if you have time. And I'm down to just 1 life left after this. I had my biggest ever viewing figures for a wrestling game this week, which I was very pleased with. I'll have to see if I can do more wrestling games. I think they're definitely the ones on my channel that do the most in terms of viewership. But I've now committed to doing the TV Spectrum thing, so I will be doing that. And now we're down to our last life in our unhygienic burger stepping adventure. I bet there's some sort of pervert who would order their burger to be stand on. And Peter Parker, the Spider-Man? Peter Pepper here is just, sating these sexual perverts and their desires to have sentient Savaloys placed on top of their burgers, and then them to be mashed with his great manly feet. What a deviant. I'm being pursued here. I think this is my Thelma and Louise bit. I get trapped, so my ending is very ignoble. But that is indeed the end of my channel. No, my channel's not ending. My challenge. So, yes, once again, that was the RetroTech 120p challenge. I will leave a link below, because you should participate if you are someone who likes a challenge of the arcade type variety. It's a good group as well. They're a good bunch of people. They will undoubtedly know all the nerd stuff that you and I, or anyone, needs to know about the games and consoles and computers of yore. But that is it for this week. I'm sure someone else will do much better than I. But I shall bid you adieu and say, K, thanks. And once again, bye.